Hey, welcome back. Mossy Oak Moments, live. Man, the only thing cooler than saying live is it's free. That's a big deal. I love promoting stuff and people know I ain't trying to say anything. Neither is Mossy Oak. This is like our public service announcement for you saying all this is free. I'm telling you, that's a big deal. The content's great. The content providers are focused. They love seeing their stuff on the Mossy Oak Go app. And the reason is the Mossy Oak Go app's getting big. We got our own little network going here, and it's all hunters who love the same thing you and I do. How cool is that? So let's jump into it, see who's first.
The word obsession encompasses the mindset of everyone at Mossy Oak. We obsess over hiding from, chasing, and conserving the critters we pursue. In this episode, we join Mossy Oak's own Austin Delano as we dive into his obsession of gamekeeping and whitetails. This is The Obsessed.
You know, like a lot of other kids, I started out chasing small game, squirrels, trapping raccoons, rabbit hunting, all the stuff that, little country kids do. And as you go through doing that and you get a little older, obviously you graduate to wanting a shotgun, wanting a rifle to be able to go deer hunting with your dad. And after you kill a couple, it's just like it just builds from there. And you're looking for that next adventure. And for me, that just graduated pretty quickly into, hey, where's the big bucks? What do we do to kill big deer? And I don't think that's ever stopped. And for the last 20 years, it's really not been about how do we kill one. And for me, it's how do I help other people grow them. Over the years, I've been really blessed to be able to travel a wide portion of this country and be in a lot of hunting camps and go and visit a lot of farms and different types of habitat. And I just genuinely do not think there's another wild game animal that is as highly obsessed over as the whitetail deer. For me, that's one thing that's just so enthralling about the whitetail, and the range that it has is just not only how adaptable it is to all the situations that man has changed, and the whitetail just finds a way to keep on not just surviving but thriving around everything we do, from urban sprawl to farming, and the whitetail just takes a lick and says, hey, here's how we're gonna do it. They just adapt, and they're just tough critters. I truly became obsessed with whitetails, and it was probably in my early 20s. I got into planting food plots because I loved farming, number one, and it just kind of went hand in hand. And I thought, hey, I can do this. And I remember having a little bitty lease in some just really poor dirt, and we were just desperately trying to grow food plots and had a water wagon out there during September just trying to get something to grow. And we actually were pretty successful at growing a food plot and killing some deer over it and seeing how that one little food plot changed how these, cotton country deer were traveling. And we were like, hey, this is pretty cool. It triggered something in me that this is fun. This is something I can get into. And so from there, I think that's where my obsession with food plot started, and whitetails maybe at the same time. And I've never took the foot off the gas since. It's every year I find myself doing more and more things that I'm like, this animal drives us crazy. So this year I was lucky enough to draw a Kansas muzzleloader tag for the early season. And we came out here in mid-September, I guess it was, and we had a great time. It was a fun hunt, but it does not feel like Midwestern whitetail hunting in September out here. When you're sitting in a stand and it's 85 degrees, the wind's 180 degrees out of the wrong direction, it feels like. And of course, you know, these old deer you're hunting, they're not moving until the last 10 minutes of light. And being able to get to come back out here in early December and see how much the habitat has changed, you know, as far as just the look. I mean, there's obviously not a lick, any type of a leaf on a tree out here. And, you know, the fields are empty. The CRP fields are just all golden, and they were green 2 months ago. It's just really neat to see what a change in the habitat looks like just in 2.5 months' time. And now this feels like Midwestern whitetail hunting. Thankful for the opportunity to see it in early season, even though we kind of struck out, but come back 2.5 months later and be like, well, yeah, this feels right. You know, this first afternoon hunt that we had out here, it was drizzling rain, temperatures in the low 30s. There's just that little bit of a fog in the air from the temperature change. Everything felt right. The feeling of the evening was perfect, you know, and it started rocking on there, getting towards 3:30 or 4, and we're like, hey, you know, it's getting kind of close to deer 30. And no more than I was sitting there thinking, we ought to start seeing some deer, start seeing some old bad-eared does over there in the timber. And the timing was just right. They came out about exactly when you think deer ought to start moving, right there at that magical 30 minutes before dark time. And sure enough, look to the left, we spot antlers. And when he pops out and you see that, oh yeah, that's a big mature buck right there, that kind of, you know, it flips the switch into, all right, we got to try to figure out how we're going to kill this deer now. And so it was, the evening really just lined up perfect for a really good hunt. You know, it was a pretty good stretch for a muzzleloader. He was on out there about 180 yards, and I mean, it's a pretty good poke for a muzzleloader, even as good as they are. So, you know, with all the smoke you get from a muzzleloader shot, you see just white tails running everywhere, and deer kind of like trying to figure out what's going on. And we felt really good about the hit, but we were like, you know, it's probably just going to be best. Let's just let him lay. If he's dead now, he'll be dead when we get there in the morning. And I'm glad we did that, but hearing that rain beat down all night, you're sitting there going, man, I wish we could go look, but you know it's probably best not to. To get back in there that next morning and find that deer, you know, just within 30 or 40 yards of where we shot him, and walk up and see those antlers laying there in that grass, there's something extremely satisfying and an emotional connection when you walk up on a big mature whitetail buck and just feel that instant, you know, gratitude, like, yes, thank you Lord, thank you for the shot. You see his scars on his back from fighting, and get down there and put your hands on him, and you just kind of, you feel the character of what that deer's kind of been through. That's the connection you get with these whitetails, and I don't think the obsession of chasing them's ever gonna burn out in me. The positive changes that you can see in a deer herd, or just maybe in a single deer that you've been trying to grow and you've been watching him, and that's the gratitude that you get back out of, you know, doing all these game keeping activities and trying to better this habitat. That's part of what drives your obsession with these whitetails, is seeing how they respond to all the effort and time you put into trying to do something better for them, and see the fruits of your labor. That's kind of what just keeps you driving to keep on doing this. I'm Austin Delano, and I am obsessed.
At the core of all of us, there is a code, a roadmap that determines who we are. Our code is written in early morning sunrises and the anticipation of opening day. Our code is written by the moments that we experience with those we love the most. It's written by the feeling of our dirt in our hands. At Mossy Oak, our code is burned into every cell of our body. It's in our DNA.
I'm 15 feet up off the ground. I got my bow in my hand. I'm not making a sound. I'm just waiting patiently.
So this year, we were super excited. My dad and we started running trail cameras in about June, and we ended up getting quite a few good bucks on camera. We were excited. On one farm, we had 4 different shooters, and another farm, we had one good buck that was definitely a shooter, and then one that we decided that we were gonna pass. So our expectations for this year were super high. We were super excited and ready to just get out there and go hunting.
So one of the things we like to do is, Garrett and I run a small business called Heartland Habitat where we burn CRP and put in food plots and stuff for other people. And so we spend a lot of time. I firmly believe in burning your CRP. Just what it does for your ground is amazing. It is such a better solution than disking or mowing. When you burn it, it comes in, it gives those ashes go down on the soil, give it a new base, and it breaks. A lot of your warm season grasses have to have that heat to actually split the seed open so they can grow. So the importance of burning that is huge. And we just kind of do what nature used to do, you know, with the whole prairie fires and stuff. So that's something that we do. We love to do it. We burn probably about 350 acres in the spring, and Garrett helps me with that all the time. And then through food plots, you know, it just, we love putting in our food plots. We put in white gold for everything, and a lot of my customers have had great luck putting the same thing in. So we spend a lot of time on the tractor and disking and seeding and doing whatever it takes. And our overall goal is just to improve our wildlife and give them the best habitat they can. And we like to see them grow, and obviously we like to hunt them. So I feel like, you know, if you're gonna do that, you better put some effort in and do your part.
Broke it in. Oh, broke it in. Another thing broke it in.
Yep. Yeah, the bolt. Everything is.
Welcome to us doing food plot.
So on one of our farms that we've hunted for years, we plant a food plot on top of the hill every single year. And on the other farm, we put up a new tree stand and a horizontal rub to try to pull the deer onto our farm even more to hopefully get a shot later in the year. So as the first hunt of the year approached, my dad and I decided that we were going to go to one of our favorite farms. We both killed good deer off there in the previous years, so we figured that we were going to go sit that spot. It's a super awesome farm. It is 2 big draws with deep creeks in them and a lot of timber. And then on the tops of the hills, we have some food plots. We have a white gold turnip and radish plot, and then we have a white gold clover plot. And we've killed multiple great bucks out of these plots for the past 3 years in a row.
I cannot be more happy with this buck. Dad and I are just waiting. We had a couple does trickle through. And Dad goes, Garrett, there's a big buck right here.
Last day of muzzleloader season. Nothing like waiting till the last minute. I'm pretty happy with him. That's a good deer. Yeah. Woo. What a deer.
So as we went to hunt, our farm that we have our #1 hit list deer on, the wind just was not right for that, so we decided that we were going to stay out and try not to bug up that area. So we decided that we were going to go to another farm that we had another good shooter on.
All right, we went out this morning and set. I saw a possum, a coon, and a wood duck.
Yep.
So we're going tonight, see if we can see an actual deer. Garrett has got an itchy trigger finger ready to shoot a doe. We're going to see if maybe we can double up. We're going to one of our farms that we got quite a few does on, so it wouldn't hurt to kill a few does off of it anyway. So it's early in the season and weather's beautiful. My truck says it's 54 degrees, 4:45, and we're rolling on. So hopefully it's a gorgeous night. Yep. A lot better than working or sitting at home. We've been waiting for this all year.
Yeah.
You wanna rock it?
Let's rock it. All right, guys, we just got here to the farm, got all our stuff in our bags and everything. We're getting ready to walk out here. Dad just got some pictures on his reveal camera. There's some does probably 150 yards away from the stand, so we're gonna try to sneak in there. Hopefully we don't bust anything out, but we'll see what happens. Let's see what we can get done. So as we were sitting there, we're waiting, and the does were not coming out, and it was weird. It was almost eerie how we were not seeing any deer. So the night just kept going on, and I was talking to Dad. I'm like, man, we should have went to a different place. And about that time, I looked up and I just saw a frame standing out in the food plot, and this was our #1 deer on this farm. Dad, right here, don't move. Don't move. That big 9 is right over here on the far side of the food plot. Don't move. I was waiting, and I didn't even ask Dad if he wanted to shoot him. I just grabbed my bow and I was ready, and Dad grabbed the camera and got onto the deer. As he was walking in, he'd stop and just look over at our blind. That I don't know if he was looking at our blind or if there's a mouse over there or something, but he didn't like something, so he would just stand there and look, and it felt like it was eternity that he was looking over there. And he was still working his way right to us perfectly, and I was kind of afraid that he would get too close and not give us a quartering away shot. But he got to 35 yards, and my dad went to talk to me, and I think he heard my dad. 35. So he startled and jumped over, and he was perfectly broadside to me. So I drew my bow. He turned around and looked at me. Then he went back and put his head down and started browsing on the turnips again, and that was whenever I shot him.
Dude, I think that looked good, man.
Dude, I think it did. There was a lot of blood coming out. Oh my gosh.
Hold on a minute.
That was a tall 9.
That's a big 9? Oh my goodness.
Oh, I think I dropped my rangefinder. Oh, I don't even care. Oh my gosh.
That is crazy. That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
Dude, I was sitting here, I was thinking the whole time too. I'm like, oh, for sure God is just not gonna have a doe, a big buck's gonna walk out. And I looked over and I saw that frame. I was trying to tell you, and you were like, what? And you're moving. I'm like, don't move. I'm like clenching up. Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
As he was running away, I was super stoked. I was excited. This is definitely my biggest deer to date. So I called my mom and told her what had happened. She was super excited for me. So we packed up all of our stuff, got down and went to see if we could find blood where I shot him at.
We're gonna go look at where I shot him at, see what we see for blood. We might track him a little ways, but if we go too far, we're probably just gonna back out because the shot was a little bit back. We looked back at the footage. It was a little further back than I really wanted. I think it's still a good shot. I think we definitely got lungs. Lots of penetration. Yeah.
So we decided that we would track him a little ways, and we ended up finding my arrow probably 40 yards away from where I shot him. I didn't get a full pass through, but it was all the way into the other side of the ribs, so I knew that I had to have done quite a bit of damage. So my dad and I blood tracked him into the timber probably 30 yards, and we decided that we weren't going to bump him or push him, so we took my arrow, put it right where we had the last blood, and we backed out. We went home and reviewed the footage on TV and got Drexel and Talon, and we came back out, and it didn't take us 10 minutes. We were on the blood trail and we found him dead 30 yards from where we stopped.
He's right up here about 20 yards, so we're gonna walk up to him and see this stud.
First time you get your hands on him.
Oh my gosh. He's been dead for a while.
I think he was dead when we quit.
Well, here he is, guys. Man, it was an awesome hunt. I mean, the first weekend of October, you love to see highs of 50s and lows of 30s. I mean, it was just exciting. That cold front really felt like you were in deer season, even this early. I feel like last year it was way warmer, but it was awesome to get out here, and I guess obviously it paid off, so I could not be more happy. Can't wait to get him in the truck and get him home.
Now that I have my tag filled, I'm going to be filming Drexel and my dad quite a bit. Hopefully we can get my dad on our #1 hit list deer. He is a stud. So hopefully we have quite a few more deer to hit the ground this year.
We just climbed up in the redneck, and I'm glad to be in here, man. It sure is windy. I think they're calling for like a 20-mile-an-hour north wind. This cold front's coming through. It's significantly colder than it has been the past couple days, so I'm glad to be up here, out of the elements. So we're set up on a couple different food plots, catching them from their bedding area and their little sanctuary, kind of just floating out here to feed throughout the night and hang out. So got a lot of high hopes with the weather we got. Yep, that's LB.
The story of LB begins in 2017. From the first pictures we got of him, we knew that he had the potential of being something special later down the road. My dad and I ended up having several encounters of him during the 2018 and 2019 deer seasons. Along with thousands of trail camera photos and finding his sheds of previous years, we knew that LB was at least a 5-year-old deer come the 2020 deer season.
guys, we just climbed up in the tree. We made a midday move. Past 2 afternoons, we've been hunting a redneck box stand over there. And we were just kind of in the cheap seats, you know. We watched this buck come out of the same spot twice. And he's fed up in the beans right here, just pushing does, you know. Both afternoons, we made a decision that we were going to go ahead and hang a lock on somewhere down this kind of finger. That way we could work with our wind, and you know, if he does what he did past few nights, you know, we got a good shot, and we won't be in the cheap seats anymore.
We had hunted for LB for several days, and we had multiple encounters with him, but we had to play the wind correctly. He was all over us, but he was just a touch out of range.
I wonder if he'll come over here and check this scrape. He threw his head up. I know, he's coming back out.
We had hung a set earlier in the year on the downwind side of his bedding area, knowing that once we got the right wind, we could slip into the cottonwood tree and have a pretty good chance of getting him well within bow range. Once we got the right wind and the weather conditions lined up, we knew it was time to be a little more aggressive and slip into his bedroom.
Cold front's pushing through. We're pretty excited to be up here. We're in a great spot. It's just it's a big travel corridor butted up to some bedding area, and man, I know these deer use this area during the daylight. All it's gonna take is for one doe to run through here and one big buck to run right by us, so I'm excited. It's 10 o'clock, we're gonna sit here all day unless I get an arrow in one, so it should be a good time.
See him right there at the cap?
Yeah, I got him. He's got a little doe with him.
No, that's a buck. That's a little buck. He's crossing right now. He's in the ditch right now. Okay. Merritt.
Dude, I think it looked good. There was a little clearing over there, and he popped out. I instantly knew who it was through the binos up. LB, it was LB. You could see the splits on his J2s. And then I was like, Dad, I can see him, grunt at him. Got the grunt call out, ripped it a couple times, and he threw his head up. Came back around to the creek crossing. That's where we crossed the creek to come into the stand. He crossed right there. He came in, I could see his rack coming right here. we've had multiple encounters with that deer. I can't stop shaking, dude. I'm holding on to the tree. Well, guys, it's been an incredible day. You know, we slipped into this stand knowing that it was going to quit raining and that the wind direction was going to switch. And man, as soon as it did, we started having deer on us. We had a couple young bucks run by us. Saw a handful of does, and we started looking at the clock, and it was like, man, it's about time for one of these big ones to get up, start moving around. Man, sure enough, right on cue. Man, he stepped out there 25 yards, and I put my pin right where I wanted it, let the arrow fly, and I hit him. From the video, it looks like I hit him a little bit high. We got down out of the stand, just wanted to see what the arrow looked like, and it had a little bit of blood on it, and it had about 8 inches of it broke off. And I wanted to, you know, just ease up here a little bit, trying to find some blood, and we watched him through the binos come gunning right down this ditch here, right by this other cottonwood, and so we eased up to it, and you know, we could see that right there laying down. That was pretty special.
I'm very blessed to have been able to hunt and harvest this deer. This was the first deer I'd killed on my family's northern Missouri farm. And with all the history of this deer, from the thousands of trail camera pictures, sheds, and 4 years of seeing this deer from the stand, I couldn't believe that the story of LB had come to an end.
I'd like to take this time to thank Dyson for sending me this vacuum. Not even Dyson. Should hit him with the stage 2. You're coming back?
You did what?
I shaved the other night, and my little chin hairs are coming back. I'm rough.
Nice.
You can feel them.
Mm-hmm. No shave November is doing you real well.
I'm trying to get like Sean and Mike and, you know, grow it all out.
It's raining. I'm sure it's only going to last for a second, so I'm going to sit it out up under this tree. I'm going to probably hunt off the ground again. Over that same little bush hogged field that we hunted a couple days ago, we saw the does in. The wind was good for it again. It's really hard to access spots, so I'm hoping that these deer have been pushed back in here. Just as the rain stopped, I'm still getting situated. A bunch of turkeys come out of the end of the little field there. Started feeding straight to me, so I had to kind of rush because I didn't want to bump them and get them all boogery and raising cane. So I quickly threw some face paint on. Got everything situated real quick, and they came up right here like 15 yards, and then they walked right beside me here. So I've been situated now for probably 40, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. The rain has stopped. The wind has stopped. It is deathly quiet and muggy. Well, nothing, not a single deer. Got really nice wind noise and a good consistent wind. So maybe that works out in our favor. I could just stumble up on something. My confidence is in the drain. This is not that fun for me. Fixing to back it up and leave. Go do something more fun, like go do something more fun, like, I don't know, watch grass grow or something.
Well, welcome back to Kentucky. We have been at home for the last few days, and big cool front just come through actually yesterday. I would have loved to have been here yesterday and tried to be here yesterday, but it just, responsibilities got in the way. But we're here today. Made the drive back up, just pulling in. We should have time to go get in the tree for the evening sit. We're going to go to a place that I scouted before I left a week ago. The bachelor group of bucks that I saw the first evening I hunted, which was now like over 2 weeks ago. I was trying not to push in on them. I was trying to be reserved. And then we got the pressure situation, and then I just went rogue and kind of hunted all over the place, off prior knowledge, off map scouting, off whatever. Then the last 2 days I was here last week, I just got frustrated. Wasn't hunting good because I didn't have any confidence. I said, I've got to put my boots on the ground. I've got to look for some stuff. I've got to get some confidence so that I'll start hunting good again. So I did. I went to walking. And finally, I just decided I'm going to go in there and try to find where the bachelor group of bucks was bedded. Probably below them out of there. They're probably already gone. That summer pattern is probably over for the season, but at least I'll know for the future. And that's exactly what I did. I went in there. I had some ideas on where they might be bedded. I went and prodded around. The very last one I checked is where they were bedded, no doubt about it. I haven't been able to find hardly any buck sign, no rubs, very little of anything really. Come in on this spot, it's like a little ridge point that comes out. There's some thick cover there, and that's where the bucks were bedded. And there were some pretty fresh beds. I circled upwind of it before I went in there to try to just let my wind blow across it, kind of wind bump the deer out of there so that I hopefully wouldn't just like overly startle them. Just kind of maybe a gentle nudge. I felt like that was better than just walking in on them if they were there in their bed still, which I doubted. But anyway, just to be safe, I did that. Got there, the beds, they looked really fresh, and around those beds was probably a dozen fresh rubs. So I felt like for sure that's where that bachelor group of bucks, a couple 100 yards, maybe even a few 100 yards off the bean field that I saw them in. What I'm going to do now is go into that spot. I'm going to go hunt it like the deer bedded there. Doubtful that they are, considering that we're almost into October. Those summer patterns should be well on their way. The beans are turning, corn's coming out, everything's kind of changing. But that's what we're going to do anyways. That's kind of what we're going for. So.
Drop down off into this really deep little ravine right here and walk it down. These fingers all go down and kind of taper out. The deer were bedded on the next one over at the end of it. So there's going to be them bedded, a little narrow bottom, this one, and then this narrow bottom. I'm going to go down this one and try to slip up the backside of the finger ridge that's adjacent to the one they're bedded on, and try to get into position for them to come out of the bed. And I found where they were crossing the end of this one. And we'll see if this grand plan works out. Where I'm wanting to be is up here 100 yards. The wind, as you saw, was doing a little funny stuff. Just a little bit of back and forth. I stopped to check it with old Trusty here. I just jumped a deer right there. Like I said, I was about 125 yards from where I want to be. Let's just ease on down. Kind of critique our setup as far as the wind goes a little bit closer to the actual spot, and then we'll try to get up the tree. Can't explain to you how frustrated I am right now. I mean, I don't know what to do, man. And the thing is, I checked the wind the whole way in here, and it would go from west to northwest, and it would switch a little bit, a little backdraft that would pull it down in this bottom behind me. I thought I can work with it. I get up on the ridge top where the wind should be more consistent, and that shit is blowing straight southeast. I mean, couldn't be no more in the wrong direction. I mean, look at this crap. I mean, the deer's bedded right there. They're gonna walk that way, and a deer just blew. I ain't been up here 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and a deer just blew down here 100 yards. You don't get this close to a buck's bedroom and have a deer blow at you right over there, and it go well, though. light's definitely gone. We have no more light. Had those 2 bucks come in right at the last minute there, and they came from opposite the way I expected them to come, which explains why they were able to get to us without winding us. I didn't do anything but pout up here all evening for the most part, but hopefully we didn't ruin this spot. Maybe it's not a complete disaster. Top of the morning to you fellers. I don't know if you can see me or not. We are getting us a quick cup of coffee here on the deck of the boat and fixing to launch off once we have a little caffeine and go get in a tree somewhere. It feels like deer season. It's like 50, I think I said 55 degrees in the truck this morning. Like I said, we'll have us a cup and we're going to drop this boat in the water. We're going to go to a spot. I've got a tree that I found when I was doing a little walking. I ain't got a clue if we're going to see nothing, but at least it feels like deer season. Fog's pretty rough this morning, so it's been kind of a slow go. Just having to pay attention. You can't really use a spotlight because all you see is fog, so you just kind of got to go with your night vision. So been a little tricky. Guess we're about there. Situated here. I'll give you guys a look around once it brightens up just a little bit. It's just getting to where you can shoot here up under us in the woods, and we're sitting right on top of the creek and kind of in a spot where there's a real thick patch of maples and just a bunch of high stem count stuff, and I think these deer are bedding in, or assume. I know they're bedding in some of it, but it's just huge. So what you have is it comes to a corner right here in front of us. I've got one little hole where I can shoot right to the corner of it. About 30 yards over here to our left are 2 persimmon trees. When I checked them, I guess that would have been Sunday. Today's Friday, so not quite a week ago. They were starting to drop, and it looked like some deer were hitting them. There were some droppings and stuff under them. I actually saw 2 does up under them, so yeah, we got a persimmon tree right next to bedding, so I'm hoping that maybe anything bedding in here maybe stops by before it goes to bed, or it's already bedded and it gets up and kind of comes out for a snack, you know, a little after daylight. Also, in the strip of timber that runs the creek here, I found a few, like, red oaks that were dropping. So, just a few acorns were on the ground. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is there's a couple different food sources that should be available to them right here. Then we're going to sit right here for a little bit and see if something comes snacking. 7 on September 24th. And I think I just smoked a pretty good 10-pointer. Big chocolate orange ogre. Everything just happened so fast, I think. I think I hit him good. I didn't hear him fall, though, so. I'm just sitting here, I look up over, right here, and I see a deer, and I see it's a buck. I said, man, that's a buck. How good is he? And I got my binos on him. I said, he's plenty good enough, for sure. And he walked by this hole on my bad side. And I was just like, I watched him walk, got everything situated, watched him walk right here at 22. I wish I would have tucked it just a little bit lower, but he came exactly where I wanted him to come to, so if I didn't kill him, it was all my fault, but I think I saw that arrow go just right. I think I saw it go just right. I just didn't hear the deer fall. I heard him bounce down this roadways. I say a roadway, it's like a tall little grassy strip. Got out there, and I heard something caused the squirrels to go crazy over there, but I didn't hear him tumble and crash or anything, so. It happened so fast, I didn't even have time to get jacked up. It's just now that it's, God, I pray that I didn't hit that deer too high. I could have swore I saw the arrow hit like the top, not right behind the shoulder, but maybe like upper third of the deer. Not like extremely high, but could have been a little lower, but like 22, 23 yards. The angle would be in my favor in that situation. Trying to stay glass half full as much as I gripe and complain and whine when it comes to deer hunting. Just try to keep going, essentially, and just try to be smart about it. Complete honesty right now, complete honesty. When I was scouting a few days ago, I popped up right here. The boat, you can see the boat. The boat's about 50, 60 yards here. And I popped up right here to come look all this over and found this persimmon tree, and there was 2 does standing under it. Looked like the does had been hitting it. I was here to shoot a doe. I knew that this thick bedding in the corner that I had right here is the reason I climbed this tree instead of climbing directly over the persimmon. Is because when I looked at this the other week, there was a lane. It was kind of a hole that I could shoot straight to the edge of the thick stuff. And that's why I wanted to climb this tree. And I knew that thick stuff, that these bucks or deer should probably be, this thick stuff kind of has a neck right here, and these deer could slip into that neck and literally be consumed with thick cover so nothing could get to them, but they wouldn't have to walk so far through that thick crap to get security, essentially. And he'd come up, I looked up, and he'd come up out of this bottom, I guess he'd come out of that. I just looked up and kind of saw deer, and he walked by me here at probably, see, that was 35, he probably walked by me at 40 right here. And I got a hole right there, and that's where I put my glasses on him. I said, yeah, he's definitely, it was a no-doubter, but that way I knew I was shooting him. And then he came in to the thick stuff, and I said, please let that deer come this way down that. I could tell he was kind of angling this way. I said, please let that deer turn and come down this little grassy strip on the outside of that thick stuff instead of just diving straight into the thick stuff. And sure enough, he did. Couldn't have been standing in a more perfect spot for me to shoot him. I'm guessing that he was probably going to snack on him a persimmon before he went to bed this morning. All right, it's been an hour and 4 minutes, the longest hour and 4 minutes ever. So the plan is now that I am going to come down this tree. You can see around me, even though I'm in the shade, you can see around me that the sun's out now. I'm going to slide down this tree, making as little noise as possible. I'm going to go right to the boat, which is right behind us. I'm going to ease out, go back to the truck, put the footage on the screen, double check the hit since we have that luxury, and decide what to do from there. I hope we get there and the hit's what I think it was, and we just gonna come right back over here and find him laying just right over there. Alright, we're back to the truck. Please, Jesus, let this be a good hit on this deer. He's dead. Oh, he's dead. He is. He can be bulletproof and he ain't toting that one. Let's go find him. Well, we're back. So it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes since we shot the deer, reviewed the footage. It looks great, right in the pocket, right behind the shoulder. Good angle, everything should be great. So we're back. Keep our fingers crossed everything continues to go as planned. Arrow's got to be here somewhere in this tall grass. And I quit looking for the arrow and just started easing down here. Shot the deer about 15 yards there, and we're already picking up some blood here and blood here. You can see it on there. So I'm going to step off to the side of it and just keep easing down. Blood there, blood all over this stuff. Looks like he's on the outside edge of this stuff. You can see it right there on that one. That big spot on that one, I'll say that. Blood kind of looks dark. But I'm thinking it's because it's following this grass, which is extremely wet. Blood on this stuff here. I see a limb. Leaves up there about 15-20 yards just covered in blood. He obviously took off through the woods here. Because he hit every one of these dang trees on the way through. Which way did you go from here? We got you here. We found him. What would be a good story without a little bit of suspense? He went up right up there and just did something funny. God, what a body. Not bad, not bad at all. Thank you, Jesus. I was 30 yards from him the whole time. When I lost blood, he just turned immediately left and was going to the creek. I'll be honest, I cut the camera off for a second to admire him for myself. A moment of silence, I guess you can say. But now it's y'all's turn. Just a beauty. And the body size on this deer is giant. His neck's already starting to swell up, you can tell, even in September. Yeah, it is coming out of his chest there. This is what he's sporting. Oh, plenty for me. He palmated a little crazy on this one. Really thick all the way up. He holds his mass all the way to the end. Pretty thick all the way down at the bottom. And it carries all the way up. There's several things that's got to happen now. I've got to get some pictures with this buddy. And I got to call him in, which I don't know if I'll be able to do without phone service. And then I've also got to go back there and find that arrow. But we got to get started on the pictures because the flies are starting to, even though it's a cooler day, flies are starting to accumulate. So let's get busy. Thank you, Jesus.
Another cup, another tank of gas. One more road sign I just passed. It looks like I'll be just in time to see that sunrise in the blind.
All right, coming up, it's Ingredient Wild. If you watched last week, you know this is the food segment. I'm kind of living my dream now. Could move over into that Food Network like that. Mossy Oak's all about it. All the wild game cooks, all those people that do those special recipes for venison and fish and all that. We got another guy coming up, Malcolm Reed. He's as good as they get. I hadn't seen what he's cooking, but I'm probably going to start drooling, so let's just go watch it.
Hey, Malcolm Reed here from How to Barbecue Right. I'm down in West Point, Mississippi, hanging out with my buddies from Mossy Oak. Today we've got some Gamekeeper Butchery elk meat. It's ground, and I'm gonna show you how I make one of my favorites, deer camp cheese dip. Let's get on it. So I've got my cast iron pot on a little camp chef stove here. First thing we're gonna do is soften up some vegetables. We got some onion going in. We're gonna give that 1 or 2 minutes just to soften up over some heat here. Then we're gonna add some garlic. Then I'm gonna brown off the venison. Those onions are kicking off the flavor. You can hear them sizzling. We're just frying them down a little bit, softening them up. They've been on about 2 minutes. Time to add the garlic. I've got about 4, 5, 6 cloves, whatever you like. Cheese dip just needs a little bit of garlic, at least at deer camp. And what I've done is taken some of my TX seasoning, pumped it up with some cumin, some cayenne, a little bit of chili powder. We're gonna season these vegetables, building layers of flavor here. We're ready for the elk. And I've got 2 pounds of ground elk going down. We're just gonna brown that elk off with the onions, with the garlic, re-season it as soon as we get it broke up, start cooking a little bit. Now let's get a little bit more of that seasoning in there. Same blend, kind of a Mexican take, cumin, chili powder, the cayenne. Heck, we need it all. All right, so the vegetables and the meat are all brown and ready. Now it's time to turn this into that Deer Camp cheese dip or that queso. So we're gonna start with a couple cans, Rotel. A good cheese dip's gotta have that Rotel. Diced tomatoes, green chilies. And we've got some chopped jalapeno. This is the pickled kind. Whatever you got in the fridge at Deer Camp is what you gotta go with. Got about a 1/4 cup. Then we've got some good old trusty Velveeta. And then we've got some jack cheese and some sharp cheddar, doing a little combination. You want about 2 pounds of cheese per 2 pounds of meat, 2 cans of Rotel, that's a good ratio. If you want to go a little more cheese, that's okay too. We're going to put all this in the pot, and then we're going to the smoker with it. Now I've got my pellet grill running at about 275. We're going to get a little bit of smoke on this cheese dip. We'll get it mixed around a little bit, try to combine these flavors. But what we're doing is we're melting the cheese with the meat, with all the vegetables, with the spices, and then we're going to have a great appetizer for dinner tonight. So we're going to set the Dutch oven right on the pellet grill and just close the lid. We'll come stir it every 15 minutes or so. We're just trying to get some smoke flavor, some of that grilled heat on it, and then we're gonna melt that cheese, turn it into a beautiful queso or that Deer Camp cheese dip. So the queso has been on about 20 minutes. Cheese is starting to melt really good. It's only gonna take it about an hour, get it really good and melted. So that smoke's gonna get in there. It's looking cheesy. That is all you have to do. So our Deer Camp cheese dip's been on about an hour. I've stirred it every 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna get it off the pellet grill here. You can't beat a big Dutch oven full. Fancy folks call it queso. Mississippi folks call it cheese dip. I call it plain old good. We're ready to eat some dip here at Deer Camp. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see y'all next time. Ooh, that's hot. Damn, look good though. That's a wrap, guys.
What matters to you right now? If this past year has taught us anything at all, it's that we need to redefine what matters to us. What matters to us is spending time with our people.
God, we thank you for this food.
And giving thanks for all that we've been given. At Mossy Oak, what matters to us is helping you get closer to nature. What matters to us is in our DNA.
Yeah, baby. Oh my gosh. I just smoked a giant.
Genesis 27:3. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison. This was Isaac talking to his son Esau. Before Isaac was about to pass, he wanted to share his blessing with Esau over a meal of venison. Even as far back as the times of the Bible, venison has been important to the human race. So now, join me and my blue-collar team as we chase giant whitetails across the Midwest. Our goal is to make you a better hunter. I'm Ben Rising, and this is Whitetail Edge.
Thank you, God, Jesus Christ. This amazing green.
Yeah, baby.
I'm about to go lay my hands on probably the biggest buck I've ever shot.
I just smoked the sheriff.
Yep, he's going down, sis.
Beautiful buck. I couldn't be more happy to take him back home to Indiana.
There he is. Oh my gosh. I just smoked a giant on a Black Widow mock scrape, baby. Yes, yes.
Welcome back to Whitetail Edge. Episode 2, Season 6. On this hunt, you're going to be following me, myself, here in Ohio. This is a deer that I've got some serious history with. We've been watching this deer grow on this little parcel of ground for some time now. I'm estimating this deer to be 5.5, 6 years old. There's only one reason this deer has actually lived as long as he did, and that was because a correlation of some neighbors, of passing this deer up when they had the opportunity to shoot him when he was younger. Without the neighbors doing the same thing and us doing the same thing, he never would have got to the age that he is or the size. So this deer, we call him forks, we call him splits. It just depends on how we feel that day, because ever since this deer has been little, he's had split G2s. And he's an awesome buck. He's always been in this area. But the thing about this deer is he never comes to my little parcel. And this parcel that I can hunt is 99 acres. And it's solid woods. And it's got a valley right up the gut of it. Hillsides with some little bit of white pine, some young soft maple, a lot of greenbriers, and it's got a hillside of oak, black, red, and white oaks, scarlet oaks, that, you know, kind of produce a lot of acorns with bedding and some rocks. It's not something crazy for deer. It's a spot that when the pressure gets on, this buck seems to find sanctuary on this little piece I can hunt. I thought he had made it through. I'd heard his sheds were found. And I thought, you know, this deer should be here. But again, I had to keep telling myself, you know, sometimes this deer doesn't show up until he starts feeling the pressure. So let's fast forward here to end of September. I'm getting ready to make a trip to Illinois to hunt a little early season. But before I go, I'm gonna slip into this farm where Splitty frequents when he's around and move a camera, start a mock scrape again, and see if I can't pick him up. So maybe when I get back from Illinois, I might have a chance at killing this deer if he's around. Hi, Ben Rising here with Black Widow Deer Lures. On our show, Whitetail Edge, we're always looking for that one little thing to get the dupe on a big buck. For us, it has become Black Widow Deer Lures.
Yes! Yes, baby! Oh my gosh, that's him.
I'm gonna just freshen it up just a little bit with some branch butter.
Oh, I smoked him, dude!
Black Widow Deer Lures, never brown or broken down, always fresh. So I slide in here on a Saturday morning. I hang my Novix tree stand up in this hard maple tree. I make a mock scrape and I freshen it with branch butter. And this is the spot that anytime that Splitty comes into this farm, I'm gonna get him right here. But I've got to use a non-cellular camera here because it's such a deep valley, I don't have any service in here. So after getting my stand hung, getting the camera done, and the scrape made, I'm out, I'm headed to Illinois, and I'm gonna check this when I get back. You know, I was only out in Illinois for a few days. I checked my camera, no splits. I decide, you know what, I'm gonna keep freshening his scrape up. I can see deer using it, just wasn't splits, he wasn't there. So I put some more branch butter in there, freshen the scrape up a bit, put a little, you know, dominator in the scrape, more mature buck lure, and just to see if maybe that smell, if he's around, he's gonna come.
Well, pretty warm today, but there's a shift in the weather. A little bit, and that's why I've been here. First, I gotta put my phase on. Just a little bit sweaty walking in here. When I use the phase, it helps seal that up and eliminate it. But anyways, what I'm hunting is a little green plot. This is a little big tine plot. Big Tine came out with some new food plot seed this year, and I planted some of that in here. It's just a really good You know, the deer have been hammering it. It's just gnawed down to nothing. But I'm in a little tucked in spot right here that's in between the standing corn. Two ravines. Two ravines fall off the side, and a big hardwood ridge runs out this way. And these deer filter up out of the ravines, even on that side of the field, and they'll neck down right here and walk into this little green plot. I got a big scrape right here. I just put some fresh branch butter in it and some young buck scent, trying to get one of these more dominant bucks to hold up right there. There's a lot of bucks on this farm, but that big 8-point that I was hunting last year's on this farm, and he's still here again this year. He grew a big, like 7-inch sticker, but he's still a big 8 with a 7-inch sticker, so he's a 9-point. Well, he's actually got a little drop too, but he didn't get a whole lot bigger, just grew some extra stuff. But if we see him, there's a good chance I'm going to shoot him. Use the old Vortex Ranger rangefinder here. Just make sure I get some spots picked out, so when I'm self-filming, if this deer comes in, I don't really have to try to range, you know, unless I really need to, but it's a lot of work by yourself to film, plus try to shoot a deer, concentrate on killing him, and get it all on camera.
On the 12th of October, we had a little bit of a front come in with some rain. And I felt like, okay, this could be an opportunity for me to, you know, to eventually check this scrape. They're going to want to check that scrape if they're around. They're going to want to freshen it up. So on the 13th, next day after it's done raining, I go in there and I check this camera. And man, to my surprise and to my delight, there's splits. He's working his scrape and he's telling everybody I'm here. I'm feeling really confident about the move I'm about to make on this deer. And where I'm getting his picture is literally 25 yards from my tree stand. So here it is, October 14th. I'm pretty jacked up. I'm gonna try to slide in and hunt splits this evening. I know that I can get in this valley. It's a little bit tedious because the deer bed and they're looking down. I like top access farms. This farm is a bottom access. It's the only way I can get into it, at least to this stand. But I got a mowed trail going back so far. It'll get me pretty quietly to where I need to be. So I'm just gonna tiptoe in there. I'm gonna get up in my tree and I'm gonna sit tight. Well, I got my camera mounted here for a second, but I'm filming myself today. I'm going in to hunt. And I made a mock widow, I made a black widow mock scrape in here a couple days ago. And I checked this camera 2 days ago, and I had this buck in here that I'm after. He hasn't been here all year. All of a sudden, he just started showing back up. So I don't know if the pressure's put him back in here, but I've always had him in here years past. We've been getting pictures of him for years. Well, he just came back in. I slid in here this morning and checked the card on this Spartan camera. I have a non-cell in here because of this valley. I can't get no service down here, and I don't have an antenna on it, a big one. So I checked the card, and that sucker was on this scrape in daylight. So I am back in here. He was on this thing at daylight yesterday evening. Wasn't back in all night. So I think he's bedded close. He's going to come back in this evening and hit it again. I think he feels comfortable in here. So I've got a sketchy wind. That stands right down here. I'm going to freshen this scrape up and I'm going to get in my tree. But I'm by myself because I didn't want two people in the tree. I wanted to keep my scent as low as possible and just try to, the wind swirling in here, it's sketchy. I don't normally hunt valleys in the evening, but I'm going to try it. But I can show you what this bedding area looks like up here. In years past, he's always bedded up here on this bank right here. And so a lot of times he'll come right down this valley. But I've got a trail that I mow in here every year into this valley right here, just so I can access this valley. But they'll run this valley up and forth and make all kinds of scrapes in here. But all I did was just fire a scrape back up and get it going. I'm gonna put some dominant buck lure in it the other day, and it got them all fired up. So I'm gonna do the same thing.
It's probably making him angry. He's going to come down here and he's going to want to see who's in his area right here now, because he's done pushed all the other bucks out of here that was in here.
I'm hunting low in the evening, which is not typically something I like to do. So I've really got to bank on two things: my scent control using the phase and my Black Widow scent, because I use the Black Widow deer lures mixed with my phase to try to do, you know, a little bit of cover scent in my scent control. I'm going to freshen up this mock scrape on the way in. Going to get up in my tree and I'm going to sit tight and hope for the best. The hunt could have been over right here, okay? I've got does above me. Sounds like 3, 4 of them walking around up in there. And one of them actually blows, okay? And I'm like, oh man. And I don't care how good you are, how much scent control you use or whatever, humans stink. It's just all there is to it. We stink. And it's almost impossible to cover us up 100% or eliminate our odor. We can do the best we can. You know, the phase system, using the foam, getting in the stand, wiping the foam on me, you know, putting the lotion on, trying to seal your skin, keeping your clothes clean. You can only do so much. You know, your breath stinks, but you can do the best you can. And sometimes these deer are just so edgy and so cagey that they can just pick you off. So the second that that deer blows and is not feeling a little bit, because the wind's swirling in there and I knew it was going to happen, but I knew I had to take the chance. The second she starts doing that, I instantly just grab my doe matriarch. It's an adult doe lure, the dominant doe, and I just start spraying it in the air. You can see it on video. This is the honest to God's truth. After about probably 15 minutes of this ordeal of these deer trying to peg me, trying not to be, you know, they weren't sure what's going on, because as soon as I started spraying that lure, and you can see it going through the air, and the second that it gets to them, they just start calming down. After about 15 minutes, I get a doe, adult doe, lays down 20 yards from my stand on the side of the hill. She's just laying there. She beds right downwind to me, and it's incredible, because if those deer would have blew out of that country or made all kinds of ruckus, blowed, went up the hill, this whole hunt would have been over. And these deer fed past me down the hill, and this doe is still laying there. Eventually, I got little bucks coming in, crossing the creek. They're down there messing around, getting a drink, starting to spar, fight a little bit. I mean, the woods is coming alive. It's just one of those nights that you just die to be in the timber. just one of those nights that you just die to be in the timber. And I just knew that I was going to see splits. I just had this feeling. And I'm just sitting there, just enjoying the moment, thanking God that I'm a bow hunter, that I'm blessed enough to be healthy enough to walk in there, climb this tree, and look at all this. And it's not long. I look up on the hill in the bedding area where I figure splits is at, and I can see a tree just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, that's got to be him. But man, the second I saw him, I knew right then I'm shooting this deer if I get the chance. So I was instantly in kill mode. Comes down, he starts pushing them does around, he's grunting, feeling dominant. You know, the other deer kind of paying attention to him, and he kind of pushes them, you know, to the south a little, and I'm like, man, you know, he's out of my roundhouse right now, but I'm like, there's nowhere for him to go. He's got to come back.
Holy smokes. He came right from where I thought he would. But I thought he'd come a little bit more to my left and walk past me, but he came off the hill too far that way. I'm hoping that he's just going to follow them does and mess around, then he'll come back this way, work this scrape, and maybe I'll get a shot. But I'm covered up in deer in here. I'm right in the bedding area. These deer work this hollow and head out to the bigger fields.
Finally, I grab my extinguisher and I just grunt back. I grunt at him a couple times and he heard it. He didn't do anything right away, but I saw him flick his tail. And I knew right then that he heard it. When they flick their tail like that, they hear it, they'll make the decision, they'll make the next move. And sure enough, once he was done fooling with those does, which I knew he would be because it was too early for them to breed. They weren't going to breed yet. They weren't ready. And of course, here he comes, and I knew right where he's going to come. He's going to come right to that scrape.
Yeah, baby. Oh my gosh. I just smoked a giant. I just smoked a giant on a Black Widow mock scrape, baby. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. That is a giant. Me and Wyatt have been watching that deer for 5 years. We've been watching him grow from a baby. And he's been missing all summer. And all of a sudden he just showed back up yesterday, 2 days ago on my camera. And I had a still camera in here. I couldn't come in here. I didn't have a Spartan cell. I had a Spartan still SD because I couldn't get service in here. And I finally went in and checked it, and he was working this hollow. So I made a mock scrape. Put a camera farther out the hollow a little bit. There he is. Oh, that deer's way bigger than I thought he was when we got the pictures. He didn't seem like he'd been growing the last couple years, but man, I think he's growing. He is a giant buck. I'm talking body, everything, giant buck. And I just laid his butt open with a mega meat. Oh yeah. I can't say enough for my old prime. This is the new black one. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I got some of the best sponsors in the world, dude. I just do. I've got my boys at Rogue, my family at Cobra, my Black Widow family. The Black Widow deers, or Black Widow lures, just killed that buck. The phase system being in this hollow all evening with deer all around me, wind swirling. You're not supposed to hunt bottoms in the evenings, but I was. I knew I was going to kill this deer tonight. I just knew it. Oh my gosh, so much went on. The old HHA single pin, everything just coming together. My Mossy oak. Oh man, I watched him come out of the bedding area. Once he showed back up, I knew where he was. And luckily, I slid a stand in here about 5, 6, 7 days ago, because I'm like, he's got to show back up at some point. And I slid a stand into this tree in this bottom. Oh my goodness. It's October 14th today, I believe. And that is early to kill a giant buck. It was little though. Come here and look at that. That's the last scrape that deer's ever gonna work. But look at this. You go in here and start getting those scrapes fired back up, and they just can't resist it with that branch butter and that Black Widow scent. They can't take it. I started putting Dominant Buck in it, and it was pissing him off. I knew that when he followed those does off, I knew they weren't going to be ready, but you could hear him grunting. And I knew that he'd just leave him eventually, and he'd come back here aggravated and work this scrape. And thank God he did. That's exactly what he did. I got to try to figure out where he ran to here. Yeah, baby.
Literally, for just a little bit, I didn't have a lot of blood, but you know, the distance from where this deer shot and where I shot the deer and where I found first blood was literally only 15 yards.
That's a great sign. So, because you know, when you're filming yourself, you can't watch what's going on. You know, you're like, in the way the tree was, I couldn't see. So, there's blood right there. He went this way. This is where it's real important to just take it easy. I gotta calm myself down here because I'm in a lot of tall grass. You can see this thick valley right here. So I just gotta take my time. There's blood there. So just, again, right there's the scrape. It's just right there, literally. 30 yards maybe. He's coming up this hill right here. I don't know if he crossed this road or... Up there. There's the road. He went up here. Holy smokes. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. That thing didn't go nowhere. I mean, my stand is right there. That big yellow tree is my stand. Holy smokes, yes! Look at this deer. Oh my gosh. Dude, look at that. This thing is a tank, man. Oh, what do you say, buddy? Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh, thank you, Lord. What a stud. Look at that deer, boys. Oh my gosh. He's so pretty. Oh my goodness. It has been such a pleasure to watch this deer grow over the last couple years. And to what they can turn into body-wise and everything, it's unbelievable. If you just give them the time. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Craziness. Pure craziness. Thank you, Lord. Unbelievable, beautiful deer. Just a gorgeous buck. I couldn't believe it. He's just laying in the middle of the trail, belly up, deader than a hammer, laced open, blood everywhere, just bigger than life. It was awesome. I mean, because he literally didn't go nowhere. I mean, I didn't even see him fall. I don't know how I didn't see him fall, but I just didn't see him fall. So I rolled him over, and you can see in the video how he's angled away. I shoot him kind of quartering away, bam, because I got to drive it through into his lungs. And it come out, I'm talking a 3-blade 2-inch, and it pushed through his shoulder on the other side. Look at that. That is impressive. That is really impressive. Looks like the mega meats are doing their job this year. So let's recap here. We're in mid-October, what everybody considers the October lull. The thing here that I want to stress to you is not every situation allows you to be able to get on a deer. Absolutely not. But there's that special occasion once in a while that you can have the right kind of access, you can know where a big deer's bedding, and you can dupe them with a mock scrape like this. And kind of knowing the area, the terrain, and how the animals use it to your advantage, you can put things together at times where you can take advantage of a situation like this. So the second that this deer showed back up into this bedding area, and me knowing from years prior that he really only came in there when he started feeling the pressure, I just monitored that. I took advantage of that situation of my past knowledge, used the cameras to tell me when he was back. I never penetrated it too much. I just kind of did my thing, and I relied heavily on that scrape to tell me the story. And this is where the Black Widow mock scrapes come into such play for me. But in this situation, using the phase system, staying as scentless as I can, using the Black Widow urine to kind of help cover me a little bit, enough to get those deer to bed down and not blow the whole night, gave me enough chance and opportunity to be able to harvest this buck. Thanks for watching Whitetail Edge. Join us next week on Mossy Oak Go for episode 3, as we're back in Ohio again with a new team member called Shane Hamer. Shane kills a great buck, and it's his first buck ever for the Whitetail Edge show. So join us again next week right here on Mossy Oak Go.
All right, here's another argument. You know, I love to get into them topics people argue about. Best caliber, broadheads, all that kind of stuff. All right, here's one. Best to hunt before a cold front or after it. Well, first off, if you live in Mississippi, our idea of a cold front and them guys that live up in North Dakota, totally different thing. You know, if down here, if it takes it from 85 to 65, Man, that's an Arctic blast. That ain't just a cold front. Now, do you hunt in front of that or after it? All I can tell you is there's data and science for both of them. Oh, cuz I tell you, man, here's my favorite time on the planet. Even at my advanced age, I'm gonna be there. Cold front comes through, rains for a little while, and that temperature dives down. And then the next pure sunshiny day when that high pressure is right over the top of your head, that's usually 24 to 36 hours later. I'm telling you, that's always worked for me. You hear somebody say the deer will get up before that front gets there. I believe that, but there's a lot to take into consideration there. Where they're bedded, how close they're bedded to food, all that kind of stuff. How much is the wind blowing? For me, right after that cold front, after the rains passed, the wind's got through whipping it through, the wind calms down, and that high pressure's right over your head. Can't miss.
I'm but a boy, though I own a heart as old as coal. Searching for something in the forest where I stroll. I'm out here 'cause I got nowhere to go. The open air and the trees known to soothe the poorest soul.
On this episode, Dead End Game Calls road crew members Patrick Paysinger and Mark Porter, they're headed down to South Carolina in the Low Country to film an Outdoor Dream Foundation hunt, and it is one to remember.
Your name?
Cameron, and I'm 10 years old, and I am from Lyman, South Carolina.
Awesome. Are you excited about the hunt?
Yeah,
We're gonna get us a deer tonight?
I hope so.
Awesome.
September 22nd. This is our second evening on the Outdoor Dream Foundation hunt. I'm hunting again with Cameron and his dad Michael. We had a good night last night, but we didn't see any deer. We did. 3 of the kids did harvest 3 deer. We're back at it. It's really hot again. It's about 90 degrees, but they've been getting some really good pictures here this side. We've got some bucks and does coming out. They seen a buck here last night but wasn't able to shoot it, so hopefully he'll do the same thing, but Cameron will put a good shot on him. So just stay with us and let's see what happens. Put this up to your shoulder. Don't put your finger on the trigger yet. Don't put your finger on the trigger. Don't do that. Give your right eye. Get it up tight. Get tight. Alright, can you move it? Can you see the feeder? Okay. I'm doing good. It's hot out there in the Low Country. 90 degrees. I'm sweating like a stuffed pig. Waiting for this sun to go down. Had a lot of fun today with my boy wrestling gators this morning. First experience ever with a gator in my life. It's a true blessing the way the ODF does these for these kids around here. Couldn't do it without them.
That. 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 That.
First deer, baby.
He's
down.
He's down.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Tell us.
I'm so proud, I'm shaking in my shoes. It's my son's first deer. He's got a bigger buck than Daddy's ever shot in his life.
I haven't. He hasn't shot a buck before.
Praise the Lord, ain't that right? Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
Babies and then a buck.
We want to thank you for this hunt we've had today and the bountiful catch you've given us and this young man here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
That was the shortest blessing I've ever heard.
Yeah, put four-wheel drive.
All right, guys. I'm here with Michael and my buddy Cameron. We are here on in low country of South Carolina on this youth hunt. It's just a blessing. I think it blessed me and the people involved more than Cameron. We had an awesome evening. We had a couple of fawns, as Cameron said, come out, and he made the decision as a hunter to pass those fawns. You know, he could have taken those fawns, but
I just wanted something a little bigger.
yeah, he wanted to wait. So this hunt was all about him. He wanted to wait, so we waited. The fawns run off, and we were kind of down thinking maybe there wasn't nothing else going to come out. And the good Lord blessed us with this buck, and he was kind of skittish, and he went to run off. I think, I don't know if he was getting some wind or what was going on, but he was leaving. We stopped him, and Cameron made a heck of a shot. I mean, there's a lot of grown men that couldn't make the shot in the few seconds that he had to make, and he made it.
Yeah, right there.
Is Papa home? Yeah.
Filming that. You're all right, buddy. Uncover your eyes. That's happy tears here now, buddy.
Hey, Papa. Yeah. Shot him right.
Were you crying?
Yeah, 'cause I was excited.
Well, that's good, Cameron. We're happy for you. You always cry, Bubba. You'll cry on the next one, too. You got me almost here. Good for you, buddy. Send me a picture.
We watched Cameron harvest his first buck. The passion that he has and the emotions that he has is undeniable. You know, on the phone, he's talking to Papa or his grandpa, and you can hear the joy in his voice. You can see it through the tears that's falling down his face. You know, sometimes in our Christian walk of life, those tears of joy are exactly the same when we begin to talk to our Heavenly Father. I'm glad that I don't have to go to someone else, but I have a direct line with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And no matter what you're going through in life, no matter if you've had the heartaches that Cameron's had in life, or no matter what your heartache is personally, always remember that God, He's always there for you. And He's just waiting on the other line.
At the core of all of us, there is a code, a roadmap that determines who we are. Our code is written in early morning sunrises and the anticipation of opening day. Our code is written by the moments that we experience with those we love the most. It's written by the feeling of our dirt in our hands. At Mossy Oak, our code is burned into every cell of our body. It's in our DNA.
In the rut, all I got is time.
All right, it's that time of the night. We're going to the vault. And I knew this one would raise its ugly head at some point. You know, I've been around a long time, written books, been on TV, been on the Primo side. I get recognized a lot for whatever reason. That's cool, that's okay. But the one thing people recognize me for more than anything is wading out in the water in my holy long johns to pull a deer out of that slough for Toxie Hayes. And it's, for some reason, it just took on a life of its own called the water buck. And it wasn't no grand scheme or plan or anything. Here's the quick story of what happened. Toxie and I have been trying to film a deer hunt forever. We were not good at it. Man, we could do them turkeys like that, kill some does, but a buck, it was hard. We were in the South, climbing stands, giant camera. We didn't know what we was doing. This spot, we'd been there for 3 or 4 days, had not seen a deer. Had a cold front come in, and Toxie said, and we're hunting right by this creek, big ditch, 3-4 feet deep out in the middle. He said, what you gonna do if I shoot a deer and it dies in that water? Because it was ice forming. I said, let me tell you something, bud. If you kill a deer and I film it, I said, I'll swim out there and get it. And it wasn't 10 minutes into that hunt, I hear and turn, here comes a big, nice, I think it was a 7-point. And from that point on, it just went downhill. I personally had no idea Toxie could even run a camera. I didn't think about it. I wasn't acting, but the worst part is, if you look real close, got a hole in my long johns. My wife, every time that comes on, the subject comes up, she just hangs her head. So here's the water buck.
Nobody was videoing back then, very few. And you know, it was exciting just to take the camera in the woods. It was exciting just to get a doe, you know, come up there and get it on video. As much as I love turkey hunt, my favorite piece of footage ever had to be the water buck. And if I remember right, it was the first time I ever took one on video, and it's the first real bow buck that Cuz had filmed. And you know, we'd struggle with that, and we got so much turkey footage, but we bow hunted and bow hunted and bow hunted. Well, of course, we got a few does here and there, but we're never taking a nice buck, or it was just so hard. I guess we almost felt like we never do it. We might almost give up on the deer. And it was, you know, we were hunting right here in Mississippi on a friend of ours' place, and it was a good place, but still, we'd been there a couple of days. It'd been kind of warm and rainy. We hadn't seen anything, just like we had probably a year or two of doing this. And I think the last morning we were there, it turned off cold, it was overcast like today, but it had just quit raining. And, you know, I know more about it. That's a great morning to go. Back then, you know, it was just we went because we were there. And we just took 2 climbers and waded off on the edge of that swamp, had no clue about anything, looking around with flashlights before daylight. I remember climbing a tree about that big around with a climbing stand, probably not over 12. It was crooked too. And, you know, Cuz is hauling all that stuff up there, climbing right behind me.
On this morning, it was cold, and the guy dropped us out just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Said, if you walk to your right out through there is a slough. Just said, if you get on the edge of that slough, the deer walk up and down there. So we just went in the dark, flashlights and all, and found 2 trees pretty close together, and we were using climbing stands. And it took a while to get all that stuff up, but we sat there, and you know, it got daylight, and it was so cold that there was a little bit of ice had formed on the side of that slough, and Toxie was looking over there, and he whispered to me, he said, man, what you gonna do if I shoot a deer and he runs in that water? And we hadn't seen a deer in 3 days, and I told him, I said, if you shoot a deer and I film it, if it runs out in that water, I'll go get it. And I'm telling you, it wasn't 10 minutes. Here comes this big old buck.
Hey, cuz, you getting pretty good with that thing. I'm going to get him.
I'm gonna film it.
Let's get down.
Do it, Bubba. It's great to think about the water buck hunt because it was more than just, you know, Cuz's first video film, my first, you know, it's probably the biggest one I'd shot at that time with a bow. And but there were so many little special things about it, you know, us doing that together, and then everything that's transpired since then, the way that it turned out, and above all else, the whole fun. We never, as much as we got a little, we never captured the fun of what happened afterwards. That just was icing on the cake. That was such a classic.
Cuz, would you like a little background music?
It's 33 degrees. Ask me, do I care?
Come on, more. Put the boots on.
Temporarily there for a minute, I forgot that I'd said I'm gonna wait out there and get it, but Toxie didn't let me forget that. So we got down and I went out there and I stuck my hand in the water first and I said, man, I believe I can handle it. So I knew it was gonna be cold. I took my hunting clothes off and stripped down to my long johns. And I stuck my toe in that water, and I'm telling you, it was frightening, to say the least. It was so cold.
All right, cuz. You got some dry clothes to put back on?
Yeah, I got some at the camp.
Wait a minute. Whoa. You got long underwear on?
Yeah, I can
Take your pants on. No, take your pants off. I have done this a many times with my old papa. Chasing down deer and ducks for him.
We can't show all that on video.
No, you can show your underwear. You got to. Come on. Let's do it. There you go. Nice. That's just sweatpants. That's all you do. You play in the basketball gym in it. Your hat. Say, no, I'll leave your hat on.
God!
You're lucky. I was hoping it would get right about to your waistline.
Massive.
I know.
He filmed all that, and after 15 years, I can go to different places after all this TV, and inevitably everybody that comes up says, man, I saw you grab that deer in your underwear. It was for some reason, that was a big deal to everybody. To me, it was a big deal, but it was, it's always going to be known as the water buck. And hey, again, I'm glad we had our little camcorder there to grab all that.
7? 7. That's the biggest 7-point I ever killed.
Toad, Bubba. All right, now it's yours.
Good. What do you think?
I think I do it every day of the week.
I love it.
Are you ready?
It's your first deer ever, buddy.
My hard work on this one, all of it just paid off.
Probably our number one that's here right now.
That is tore up. All right, well, we're gonna get to hanging. Time to go. Hey guys, welcome back to Dream Season Live. Today we're gonna go out and take a look around this piece of property, get some cameras moved onto some scrapes right before the season opens. We'll open our season here in Iowa here in the next couple days. Man, I'm excited. It's 85 degrees right now, but we got a big cold front coming in this weekend and into next week, and so I know that the team will have a bunch of people out hunting that cold front, trying to take advantage of that. And what I'm hoping to do here is
move these cameras onto scrapes and add some cameras and get some up-to-date MRI. This particular farm has 4 or 5 deer on it that all showed up on the food plots in the last 2 nights. So I know they're all here, but they are all 3 and 4 year old deer that I would really like to see another year on. So like I said, cold front moving in, it should be really good coming up. I know that our youth hunters have been out, and I heard that Caleb took his boy Huxley out and got it done on his first deer. So that's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that footage myself. But yeah, the next week or two should be real excited as bow season opens here in Iowa. Thanks a lot for tuning in. This right here is a perfect example of what I'm looking for. They've already opened up a little bit of a scrape here down this edge. I've got a tree stand right here over my right shoulder, and it's going right down this trail and on this field edge. I've got a food plot up here, and it's not the best food plot. It didn't come in great, but this trail going right down the edge of the timber, hidden from the CRP, hidden from the food plot, right underneath these scrape branches. This is perfect. They've already started it here. I'm just gonna enhance it and get a camera on it. And this camera right here should tell me everything I need to know about when I need to come hunt this spot. Another thing I really like to do when I can is when I'm setting a scrape tree like this, I'll go in and I'll find a vine, big woody vine that grows up alongside a lot of big oak trees and stuff. I'll go find one and I'll cut it, and then I'll bring a little bit of wire and I'll wire it in there so it's tight, and I'll use that to hang right over top of that spot right there that I just cleared. Seems like the bucks really like to chew on the end of this and leave their scent all over it, and it lasts all season. So I'll get this one hung up, and yeah, we'll get it set and get out of here.
Well, it is just breaking daylight on September 25th, and Huxley and I decided to switch it up and hunt a morning. Huxley's first ever morning hunt, and so far he's done amazing. We have about 2 acres of beans here in the bottom. Our beans were planted late, so they're all still really green. We wanted to switch it up. Deer cast says good this morning. We decided to slip in the creek, hop up in here, and this is kind of the hub of our farm in the middle. And there's lots of bucks coming into this field. We are just getting settled in, and hopefully we can get Huxley's first buck this morning. Boom. So we just reviewed the footage. So we had a doe come out this morning, and we're pretty discouraged because she came out and was feeding right to us, and then all of a sudden just turned around and walked away. And I looked over here and there was a little fawn over there, and I'm like, her mom's gonna be behind her, so be ready. And sure enough, she stepped out, big old doe. So initially when he shot, I didn't see the impact on my little screen I'm looking at, so I didn't think he hit her, but then we reviewed the footage, and I think he absolutely smoked her. So what we're gonna do is review the footage on our TV just to make sure before we go in after her. We're gonna bring the four-wheeler in from this other side because there's a big creek behind us that we slipped in, so we'll have to come in from this side anyway, but we're pretty excited. It's your first deer ever, buddy, on our brand new farm. That's awesome.
What's up, dude? Hey, Mom. I double loaned a doe.
Let's go watch it on the TV and we'll see what we got. Oh, there's another deer. Oh, there's a buck. There's a buck. You wanna wait for a bigger buck? No. You wanna shoot him?
Yeah, I'll shoot him. Dad, my eye patch.
He's coming towards us, actually.
Got you.
Are you ready? I'm gonna stop him. No, he's facing us again.
Gotta do it.
Just wait. He's quarter two. Are you ready? Good shot.
Got him. I got him. I just doubled 2 bucks. I'm so proud of myself.
I think you just filled both your tags, buddy.
What?
I think you just filled both your tags. What a hunt.
Yes!
You
I got him.
Buck and a doe this morning.
Let's go.
On the brand new farm.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Hold on though, we gotta go back and watch the footage, make sure
That way.
we can go look for him.
Double wow them.
Double wow, double lung. I was probably 9 or 10 before I shot my first deer. You just got yours at 6. Here we are. You did so good, buddy. You did so good. That was awesome.
I just put my hard work on this farm. All of it just paid off.
A bunch of hard work, and you just shot 2 deer on 1 hunt.
Yeah.
You have to keep following. Look ahead of you. Your first deer ever. Yeah? Awesome job, buddy.
I shot it right there.
You did awesome. That's a perfect shot. Yeah, just follow it, but be really quiet, okay? You got him! Good job, buddy.
I got it.
So proud of you. 2 in 1 hunt.
That's why you never give up.
Exactly. Guess who's tagged out?
Me.
You tagged out. Good job, boy.
Well, it is the morning of September 25th, and I could not be more excited. My little man here, Huxley. We slipped into the muddy blind this morning, and we were setting over about 2 acres of standing beans, and it was the ticket this morning. We had a little tiny buck come out first thing, and then he didn't present us with a shot, and then a fawn came out, and then right behind her was a doe, and Huxley made a perfect shot on her, and she didn't go far at all. She went maybe 40 or 50 yards and crashed up, and then we FaceTime Taylor to tell her that he shot his first deer ever, and we're out of the corner of our eye, we look over and this joker's coming, so we got Huxley ready, and you shot him, and he didn't go
40 or 50 yards. So two absolutely amazing shots. Just an awesome morning. You know, this has been more fun than hunting myself, realistically. So couldn't be more excited and more proud of, you know, him only being 6 years old and really held his composure very well. Made 2 awesome shots, and this is proof right here that you put in the hard work and you will be rewarded. The 350 Legend from Winchester, the compact model, has just been a game changer for us in the sense that he can shoulder it and still reach the trigger, and it has almost 0 recoil. So it's just really been a game changer as far as getting him out here at a younger age, and I couldn't be more proud of you, and I just can't wait for all the memories we're going to create along the way. I'm so proud of you, buddy. Give me 5. Heck yeah.
Northwest winds at 8 miles per hour. Pressure is on the rise. Front is moving. Perfect conditions for Hot Corner. Shooters been all over the south. Want to focus on afternoon movement. Hot Corner, 3 p.m.
It's the easiest decision you'll make this season. Get ahead of your game with DeerCast.
All right, well, it is October 3rd this evening, and hopefully we're on a special mission tonight. Last day of youth season. Either any of them pop out, we're going to give them the business with the old Winchester 350 Legend. So as we're sitting here, kind of waiting for the deer to come out on Wise Youth Hunt, I'm just going to kind of recap Huxley's hunt and kind of what that meant to me as a dad. You know, that's something that I've looked forward to ever since Huxley was born, and really tried to instill the hard work in him before giving him the opportunity to go hunt. So, you know, him realizing the hard work paid off when he said it in the blind after shooting the deer. I mean, you talk about a proud dad moment. That literally takes the cake for me. The fact that he knew that he put in the work, he did that, and that's why he was successful. That meant a lot to me as a dad, and you know, I honestly can't even put into words how special and meaningful that moment was to just share that with him. And you know, it's the first of many memories to come. So we're already kind of game planning for when we want to get his second tag. I think we're kind of leaning towards one of the shotgun seasons just so we can use the 350 Legend again. So Dad and I's strategy moving forward is going to be kind of played on the fly. So going into this season, I had 3 deer that I was going to target very hard, and as luck would have it, all 3 of them went MIA within the last 2 weeks. So we have no pictures of the drop time buck on our farm. We have no pictures of the buck that's on this farm, but you know, history shows that he should show back up around this time, so that's why we're here tonight. And then a third buck that we call Dakota 2.0 is MIA as well, but once again, it's a very small, you know, farm. Doesn't have a lot of cover, so those deer kind of go in cycles of coming and going. So I'm not worried. You know, I think he'll be back as well. It's one of those deals where he showed up in late October, so we're going to kind of, you know, run some Raycon Excel cams in there, and when he shows back up, we're going to be ready to act on it. So we're going to continue to check our trail cameras and make sure, you know, that, you know, in hopes that the deer show back up. But in the meantime, a buck on our farm that we call Branch has been showing some daylight activity in a particular food plot with really good access. So if he stays in that area, I know we're kind of waiting for the right wind, the right conditions. We want to act when the time is right. But that's a buck that Dad's gonna be chasing pretty hard this year. So I thought I'd recap. You know, how it's kind of funny how you go into season, you play particular food plots for particular deer, and it's funny how they kind of always have other plans. Well, this 3 deer that I went into the season looking forward to chase, not even able to do so at this moment. So we'll just kind of wait for that moment to come. But it's our favorite time of the year, so hopefully we've already had a great start to the season with Huxley shooting a buck, so hopefully Wyatt shoots another buck tonight and we get this dream season rolling.
Deer season has officially started here in Iowa. We are opening weekend, and instead of hunting, we're doing last minute stuff that we probably should have got done months ago, but life's been busy. So Taylor and I came down here to a permission farm that we have hunted now for a handful of years, and We've got one spot here that we've noticed a ton of activity over the years, but we've never actually hunted it. So we're gonna get down in here, we're gonna hang a muddy stand and check a few trail cameras. We do have a cell cam that we put down here about a week ago. And one thing that's pretty awesome about it is we've really picked up a ton of activity. We know what these deer are doing. It's gonna be a great morning spot. But what we're most excited about is there is a buck that showed up that we have 3 years of history with, and he is an absolute stud. And he's a buck we call Tank 2.0. First photos of him were in 2019. We had him in 2020 on the camera as well, and now in 2021. And we believe he's probably 7 years old, give or take a year on either side. I mean, he's an absolute giant bodied, heavy rack deer, and he is probably our #1 that's here right now. But then again, it's so early. This farm, when you're looking at it, it doesn't consist of much. It's only 40 acres. It's got a one draw that runs through it, but it's got the majority of the food on it. So it pulls a lot of deer from the neighbors, and we're hoping to take advantage of that this year. So anyways, we're gonna get to work. We're gonna go get the stand hung. You'll probably see us here at some point this fall. It's tore up back here, isn't it?
It is tore up. This is gonna be a killer little spot.
It's gonna be awesome. Big scrape there, and then I walked up that fence line. There's scrapes the whole way.
Yeah, that's it.
Up in this tree.
Plenty of cover in it.
Plenty of cover. If we wanted to get 2 people, we could. We could self-film out of it easy. And then they're gonna have the wind in their face when they come down here. Yep. All right, well, we're gonna get to hanging. Yeah, this is spot on, man. It looks awesome. You can shoot that scrape too. Okay, so we just got this new stand hung on our 40-acre permission farm. It is awesome, as you can see. I mean, tons of cover here behind me. And I'm gonna have shots right here over my shoulder. I mean, they're gonna come through here within 30. Most of them, I think, will be within 15 yards. We've got 2 huge scrapes that are both point blank range, and now we know we have 1 hit lister here. Let's hope that some more show up. This camera's only been here for like 3 days. So we've got Tank 2.0, and then other than him, we'll see what shows up. This farm, the permission farm, is officially going to be called No Man's Land. You'll see us on here at times, probably throughout the year. We are gonna leave some corn standing for late season as well. So there's a really good chance that someone will have some success here. One thing I wanna emphasize to everybody, I know a lot of you are, getting out to the field and you're hunting. You'll notice behind me here, I am tied in with a safe line. So the whole way up this tree, I was tied in with my lineman's belt, and then once I got up here, Taylor gave me the safe line. I dropped that down, or set it up, dropped it back down, and we'll tie it off at the bottom. But now every time that someone is here hunting and we're climbing up and out of this, up and down out of the stand, we'll be tied in the whole time. Most tree stand accidents don't happen when you're in the stand already. Most of the time it happens when you're getting out of the stand or into the stand. So they're not that expensive, guys. You can find them on, a lot of different websites out there, a lot of different retailers. Invest in safe lines. Invest in safe lines. Make sure you're wearing harnesses. Stay safe this fall. Thanks for following us here at Dream Season Live. We're gonna go ahead and get down, get out of here, grab some lunch, and then probably take off and get some more work done on my home farm. Season is here, and we're gonna be happy to bring it to you. Thanks for following along.
What matters to you right now? If this past year has taught us anything at all, it's that we need to redefine what matters to us. What matters to us is spending time with our people.
God, we thank you for this food.
And giving thanks for all that we've been given. At Mossy Oak, what matters to us is helping you get closer to nature. What matters to us is in our DNA.
Well, there you go. 2 in a row. Nothing like Mossy Oak moments. Again, I hate to keep saying that, how proud I am to be part of the Mossy Oak Go app. It's free. That awesome content coming in from great people who live that outdoor lifestyle, who get it, and make no mistake about it, people who love to hunt and fish, the conservationists, they carry this country on their back every day. They're the best people in the world. We're so blessed to have a vehicle to bring some of that to you each week. So, hey, mark it down. Next Wednesday, Mossy Oak Moments Live right here.